Hey YouTube, and happy Veterans Day to all those who have served, who are signing up to serve our country. I myself am a veteran, U.S. Army, 8 years-ish, one deployment to Afghanistan. But that's not why we're here today. We're here to take a look at this 1969 Buick behind me before it goes down the road. And specifically, I want to show you guys what I did on the fuel system on this car. It's fairly unique. I have not seen another video like this out there on YouTube. So let's take a look. So this was my 1969 Buick GS400. Overall, a very solid car. It's been good to me. I had it on Power Tour this last year in 2025 with Steve over at Build Season and his crew. Overall, like I said, a very solid car for being a convertible. This is a true GS. Pretty stock interior. Didn't really do much other than new foam in the seats, and there's plenty of videos out there to show that. This one, as we're going to see, did get a Sniper II upgrade, I guess, or changeover from the Quadrajet that it did come with. I mean, you can't really argue with that. But it is time for me to part with this one. I am sending it down the road. It is selling this week to an awesome gentleman local here to Wisconsin who is also a big Buick guy, has been most of his life. He had a cool story. He used to have a GSX, a real one, crashed it in high school, and now he's looking to get into something he hasn't had before, a convertible, which this is a nice example of. But let's go around the car here and just take a look. So right off the bat, looks fairly stock, just as a passerby. But when we look under there, we can see if I can get a shot of it. There is a Holley Sniper II hiding under that. So for those with Buicks, yes, it does fit. I have plenty of clearance with the hood. The only thing I had to do is I took the stock bracket. You can kind of see it right in there. I'll zoom in. There's a spacer I added with a longer screw. But other than that, it only squashes this down maybe an extra 1/4 inch or so. I have not had a problem with it. In fact, I'm even running a phenolic spacer. You can see it underneath there. To date, I have not had any issues with this thing. Vapor locking, I mean, or anything like that. This is a full kit, so it does have the full Hyperspark ignition system with it. You can see the CD box and the coil back there. Fun note, when I fired up this season, I thought, well, I'll just unplug the coil, rotate it a little bit, get some oil pressure built up for waking it up from a long winter's nap. Well, I guess maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but it shot a spark from there all the way to here, I believe, where you see I touched up this paint. So I was pretty impressed by that. That's probably almost 2 feet that spark jumped. So that coil is no joke. Other things I've done to this car, not a lot really. I guess that's tongue-in-cheek. This engine had been rebuilt from the ground up. Bought this car out of a consignment, classic car dealer in Ohio. Got royally screwed, heads were cracked, cam was wiped, spent a bunch of money I'm never going to recoup on rebuilding this engine. But that's all right. That's part of the game. For me, that's part of learning, part of the enjoyment of these things. But let's dive into the fuel system. So when I set out to do this EFI migration, knowing I wasn't sure if I was keeping this car, sending it down the road, I know I was going to take it on Power Tour. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't the guy having to drop a tank or doing something stupid to replace a fuel pump. Or if I put an electric fuel pump right in the tank. So what I did here is I call this my hybrid fuel system. So you'll notice up here, I have this Edelbrock adjustable fuel sump system. And I looked at, everybody has a version of this. This one's really nice. They say it's a sealed system, but I've also read that you can certainly unscrew this cover. You got to pry the sealant off it, but you can get access to that pump and buy a replacement. If you call Edelbrock Tech Support, they'll give you the name of the high pressure fuel pump in here. But the way this works is you have your fuel pump power right here. So this actually goes down and powers the actual fuel pump inside here. This is a high pressure pump. Then you have your fuel in and your fuel out. So what I decided to do to keep this, you know, I can maintain this on the side of the road without having to go under the vehicle. I still have the stock mechanical fuel pump, which works just fine. That is actually what is feeding fuel into this fuel sump. So when I first installed this, I made a little funnel with an adapter. I was able to screw on here, get this filled with fuel. Then I hooked up the mechanical pump outlet. And then this is just a standard 6AN line from the out. And that just runs through, comes down through here, runs to that, I think it's a 10 micron filter from Edelbrock or something like that. So that's easy to get to. It's just clamped on the side of the frame rail, far enough away from the belts and engines and all the accessories. But then that comes up through this hose, which I just put a, I think this is like a Panduit slip over braided cover shield. And then it comes around where we meet up with kind of a zigzagged pressure regulator, but I wanted this, again, to work with the stock air filter assembly with the ram air. So I got a little creative with the AN fittings, but it fits under there just fine. And like I said, I have not starved this for fuel yet. In fact, I think this thing holds like a liter or 1.5 liters of fuel. So it gives you that little bit extra capacity. Sometimes that's what you need to find that next gas station. You can ask me how I know. Just did that last night on the way to Culver's. I'm like, oh boy, I'm very happy I had that extra liter of fuel. So I will go around, start this up, and I'm gonna leave my phone kind of hanging out here. Hopefully you can hear that fuel pump kick on from the Sniper system, and then I'll go ahead and start it. We'll check fuel pressure and just let you hear this thing run. So here now we're back running. You probably heard the fuel pump prime, and then maybe you heard the Sniper give a shot of fuel down the throttle body. But for those who wonder if this is going to work or not, you can see that that is basically locked in at 60 PSI. It's not jumping around. It's a very stable fuel system, and I've been very impressed with it. So again, you saw that the the fuel pressure is very steady at 60 PSI. Now this is a deadheaded system. You can do that with the Sniper II. The Sniper II does not have a built-in regulator. So you can see I just have the fuel outlet on the back blocked off with a 6AN cap. So the way this works then is, think of this Edelbrock Fuel Sump as just a big carburetor bowl, I guess, for the Sniper EFI. If you actually go and look at the documentation, there is actually a float in here. So the mechanical fuel pump feeds pressure in until the float, I guess, closes, shuts off fuel, and then is basically waiting for the high pressure fuel to suck fuel down, then it'll fill up again. Now, this requires a vent line, which I have teed in. I ran a nicer like 3/8 inch vent line from the back to the front. And then I have a T in there to go from the Edelbrock fuel sump, and it tees into the return, if you want to call it that. on the stock fuel pump down there. So in this case, really nothing is changing in the fuel system. As far as your mechanical pump is concerned, it's no different filling this bowl than it is filling a bowl on a carburetor. And like I said, this has been a very good system. Didn't take much to fab up a bracket to bolt this to. Edelbrock was actually very nice. They gave you, along with this, like a printed out copy that's dimensionally accurate. So that's what I used to build the bracket that this hangs off of. In this case, all I did was move the horns from underneath there out in front. That freed up that area that I needed. And I don't know if this will pass tech. I haven't been much in a drag racing yet, but I know we're more than 11 inches off the firewall. So, and there'll be people out here that will say this isn't safe. What if you get into an accident? Well, you know what? There's so much fuel line and oil lines and everything else. If you're in that bad of a wreck, yeah, a lot of guys I've seen online will even suggest they have fuel pump collision shutoff sensors, I guess, little blocks you can wire this in through. So that's always an option if you're worried about that. In this case, I was not. But that is my Buick GS400. It's been a good car. Part of me sad to see it go. The other part of me is excited to save a little money to help finish the Firebird, which I have currently hiding in the paint booth. So I just wanted to get this sucker on the channel for nostalgia. I'm sure one day the kids will want to see this. They were not exceptionally happy that when I told them I was selling the car, but that happens sometimes. But overall, again, it's a beautiful specimen. It's a nice, not perfect by any means. I drive this 2,000 to 3,000 miles a year, if not more. But it does polish up nice. And I mean, Buick had it going on with that curvature of between the A and B pillars there across the door. Very nice. So that is what I call a hybrid EFI fuel system. Hey again, so I know this is kind of just a random video, but I wasn't expecting this car to sell this fast, and I wanted to make sure I got this documented and shown to you guys, because like I said, when I was looking to do something like this, there wasn't much on YouTube short of your more standard type of fuel sumps, which basically require a whole bunch more work than this was. This was a fairly easy swap. So thanks for watching. If you like what you see, hit like and subscribe. I do this for a hobby right now, so I get what I can out in the time I have, being a busy dad, and having all those sports and family things going on as well. So thanks for watching. See you next time on Beyond the Manual.